On the outskirts of Kazan, in a quiet village, the evening air was cool and calm. Anya Mikhailova felt a slight unease as she watched Dmitry prepare to meet his friends. "Will you be out late?" she asked, trying to hide her worry. Dmitry, avoiding her gaze, casually mentioned meeting friends at a bar. Anya knew that such evenings rarely ended on time. Unable to bear waiting, she eventually went to the bar herself, where Dmitry's group was always the center of attention. As she entered, Anya sensed a tense atmosphere. Dmitry looked flustered, and Victor exclaimed, "Anya, you're just in time. Dmitry was just talking about you." She approached their table, acutely aware of the men's scrutinizing glances. Dmitry attempted a semblance of a smile, but his deliberate avoidance of eye contact hinted at something deeply unsettling. "What's going on here?" she asked, her expression questioning, as she lightly touched Dmitry's shoulder to get his attention. "He lost a couple of games, nothing out of the ordinary," Victor dismissed casually, waving his hand. As if awakening from a daze, Dmitry abruptly stood up and, grabbing Anya's hand, hurried her away from the noisy bar. "Listen, darling, they want you to participate in a little game." "It's nothing, I assure you," he whispered, trying not to meet her eyes. "A game?" Anya repeated, crossing her arms, her heart pounding. "What kind of game?" "Just a simple task, and then it'll all be over, I promise," Dmitry quickly reassured her, attempting to calm her down. But Anya was already consumed by an unpleasant premonition that made her stomach clench. "Couldn't you have just said no?" she asked bitterly. Dmitry lowered his gaze, as if ashamed. "Victor won't forgive it. That's just how they are," he mumbled, shrugging his shoulders. Anya took a deep breath, feeling a wave of irritation and resentment building inside her. She knew perfectly well that Dmitry hated appearing weak or cowardly in front of his friends, but why should she pay the price for it? "I really don't like any of this," she stated firmly, looking at him. "They suggested we move to Victor's house to start," Dmitry informed her, gesturing in a direction. Anya glanced at the group. Dmitry's friends sat at the table, laughing loudly and cheering them on, as if watching an entertaining show. A quiet, ominous creak sounded as Anya lifted the heavy lid of a black, oblong box on the table. Inside, neatly folded, lay a maid's uniform, provocatively short, with a tiny apron and an abundance of lace details. "Is this a joke?" she asked, clutching the box, feeling a wave of revulsion. Victor smirked smugly, leaning back in his chair. "We told you it was just a game, Anya. You're not afraid of a little performance, are you?" he said mockingly. Dmitry, standing next to Anya, conspicuously looked away, as if the situation didn't concern him. "If you don't want to, no one's forcing you," Anton quietly added, the only one in the group whose smile didn't seem so sarcastic and malicious. But Anya, despite his words, felt the insistent gazes of the others. They weren't begging, they were waiting. And their expectation was oppressive. "It'll be fine, it'll be over quickly, and that's it," Dmitry mumbled, noticing her obvious hesitation and indecision. Anya gripped the box tighter, feeling her nails dig into the cardboard. "Show me where I can change," she finally managed to say with difficulty, deciding to get it over with as soon as possible. The upstairs room she was led to was dark and a little dusty, as if no one had lived in it for a long time. The maid's uniform lay before her on the old, creaky bed. "You'll just put it on, come downstairs, and serve drinks. That's all, nothing more," she told herself, trying to calm her wildly beating heart. The fabric of the uniform was coarse and unpleasant to the touch. The short skirt barely covered her legs, and the numerous lace details only intensified her feeling of awkwardness and humiliation. Looking at her reflection in the dim mirror, Anya felt out of place. She barely recognized herself. "It's just a game, she repeated to herself like a mantra, and, taking a deep, trembling breath, headed downstairs, to meet her fate. The voices in the living room instantly hushed as Anya entered. Dmitry looked up, but his face remained tense and distant, as if his thoughts were far away. Victor, with a wide, self-satisfied smile, handed her a tray with several glasses of drinks. "Excellent, Anya. You look simply splendid in this role," he said, his voice dripping with false cordiality. Anya felt an unpleasant shiver run down her spine when one of the men, Sergei, lightly touched her back as he passed. She remained silent, restraining herself. The first to come for a drink was Pavel. He smiled slightly as he took the glass and quietly, almost sympathetically, said, "Don't worry, Anya, it's just for fun, nothing more." Sergei and Igor, offering their compliments, exchanged glances, but their words sounded false and empty, without genuine engagement. When it was Victor's turn, he took the glass, holding her hand a little longer than was decent or necessary. "You're doing wonderfully, Anya," he said with a satisfied, predatory smile. Anya quickly pulled her hand away, disgusted, and took a step back, away from him. Anton, the last of them, took a glass and quietly, confidentially said, "You can stop anytime, Anya. Don't let them pressure you." Anya barely nodded, but she knew it was too late to back out. "Now you're one of us, Anya," Victor added almost affectionately, settling back into his seat and watching her intently. Her heart pounded again, anticipating new torments. "You're celebrating too soon, Anya. The second part of our fun will be much more piquant," Victor's voice cut through the air, his gaze piercing. Dmitry, unable to bear it any longer, tried to rise from his seat, but Victor's authoritative gesture pinned him back down. "Your part is played, Dmitry. Let her finish what she started," he cut off, as if delivering a final verdict. In the corner of the room, the first chords of an old, worn-out record began to play. A slow, lingering tango melody filled the space. "And now, my dear, you must honor each of us with a dance," Victor said, his eyes fixed on her, his words sounding like a sentence. A wave of horror and disgust washed over Anya, everything inside her went cold. "A dance? This is too much, Victor," she stammered, feeling her voice betray her. "You know the consequences of refusing," came the cold reply, allowing no room for doubt. Anya desperately looked at Dmitry, pleading for help, but he sat as if turned to stone, detached from reality. "Fine," she choked out, gathering the last shreds of her composure. Pavel approached her first, embarrassed and slightly flustered. "Just a dance, nothing special," he mumbled, timidly touching her waist. But even this innocent gesture caused a wave of revulsion in her. As soon as the dance with Pavel ended, Sergei took his place. His touches were more insistent, bordering on brazen. Victor saved himself for last. His hand squeezed her waist with a force that bordered on pain, and his burning breath scorched her face. "You move beautifully, Anya. Dmitry is a lucky man," he whispered with a venomous smirk. Anya wanted to object, to fight back, but the words stuck in her throat, and her strength abandoned her. When the music faded, and Anya hoped the nightmare was over, Anton approached her. "My turn," he said softly, inviting her to dance. Unlike the others, his movements were gentle and respectful, there was not a hint of vulgarity in them. Anya felt the tension that had been binding her ease slightly. After the dance, Anton held her hand for a moment longer than the others. "You handled yourself with dignity, Anya," he said sincerely. For the first time that humiliating evening, Anya saw sympathy and support in his eyes. "The show is over for today," Victor announced, leaning back in his chair complacently, but then added with a devilish grin, "But this isn't the end, Anya." The next day, a crimson sunset slowly faded on the horizon. Anya sat on the dilapidated porch of her house, gazing into the distance, but her thoughts were far from this idyllic scene. All day she had tried in vain to banish the events of the previous night from her mind, but memories of the lustful glances, the disgusting touches, and most importantly, Dmitry's treacherous silence, haunted her, tormenting her soul. Dmitry sat to the side, silently picking at an intricate pattern on an old table, avoiding eye contact. He hadn't uttered a word since morning, immersed in his gloomy thoughts. "We have to go again today," he finally said, without looking up, his voice dull and lifeless. "Why? Isn't this enough?" Anya exclaimed, feeling anger and despair engulf her. "Victor said there's one last trial, and then it will all be over," Dmitry mumbled, as if trying to convince himself. Anya looked at him with distrust and weariness. "And what is it this time?" she asked, feeling her voice tremble. Dmitry just shook his head in response. I don't know, but if we refuse, Anya, you understand that. He didn't finish, but the meaning was clear without words. Victor's house once again greeted them with an eerie silence. The others were already gathered inside, settling around a massive table, as if in anticipation of a spectacle. Here are our heroes, almost on time, Victor said with a sarcastic smirk, not hiding his malicious glee. Anya sat on the offered chair, feeling Victor's assessing gaze pierce through her. So, Anya, this is the finale. After this, everything will be as it was, I promise, Victor declared, leaning back in his chair, his voice firm and allowing no objections. But deep down, Anya felt a growing unease. Victor leaned forward, squinting, and said slowly, as if savoring each word, you must kiss each of us. A suffocating silence fell in the room. This isn't funny anymore, Victor. Dmitry cried out, his voice full of despair. But Victor only smirked smugly in response. You're out of the game, Dmitry. Either Anya finishes this, or the debt falls on your shoulders, he cut off, giving no chance for objection. Anya looked at Dmitry pleadingly, hoping he would finally resist this madness, but he sat as if paralyzed, detached from the situation. Anya, you don't have to do this, Anton unexpectedly said, breaking the oppressive silence. His voice held genuine compassion, as if he shared her inner struggle. No, I'll do it, she firmly retorted, feeling that there was simply no other way. Pavel approached first, his embarrassment evident, his movements constrained. Their kiss was quick and somewhat detached, like a casual touch. Then it was Maxim's turn. A light, strained smile betrayed his attempt to lighten the tense atmosphere, but Anya felt everything inside her clench in anticipation of something unpleasant. Sergei and Igor did their part quickly, avoiding eye contact, as if eager to finish this arduous procedure. But when Victor approached, he moved deliberately slowly, as if savoring every moment. His lips lingered on hers a little longer than the others, and there was a deep insult in it, as if he wanted to humiliate her. Anya felt her heart pound wildly in her chest, but she didn't allow herself to show any fear or weakness. Finally, it was Anton's turn. He paused in front of her, hesitant to take the first step, as if waiting for some permission. He hesitated, and it was noticeable. It's okay, she said softly, trying to sound confident. Their kiss was different. There was no pressure, no force, no desire to dominate. It was a soft and sincere moment that lasted longer than it should have in this situation. When Anton pulled away, his eyes met hers. Anya saw something in them she hadn't noticed before, warm concern and deep regret. Victor broke the silence with a loud clap of his hands. Well, it's all over, he announced, as if concluding a performance. Anya quickly turned to Dmitry, seeking support, but he looked away, avoiding her gaze. Can we go? She asked, trying to keep her voice calm. You may, Victor nodded, waving his hand towards the exit. On the way home, a heavy silence hung between them. Why didn't you say anything? Anya finally asked, unable to bear the tension. Dmitry just shook his head, as if unable to find words to explain. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want things to go so far. You let them. Victor manipulates you like a puppet, and you don't even try to stand up to him, her voice was filled with despair. Dmitry stopped and looked at her. His eyes showed confusion and helplessness. I just wanted to fix everything, he mumbled. Anya turned away, not wanting to see his distress. Perhaps you've already lost me, Dmitry, she said quietly but firmly. Late that night, as she was falling asleep, she was awakened by the sound of a message. We need to talk, it read. The message was from Dmitry. Anya stared at the phone screen for a long time, then decisively deleted the message, as if erasing the last hope of reconciliation. The next morning, life in the village seemed to go on as usual, but inside Anya, everything was frozen, as if time had stopped. Not a single word from Dmitry, nor his attempts to act as before, could erase from her memory what had happened. Every time she looked at him, moments of his silence, his inaction on that fateful evening, resurfaced in her mind. As the sun began to set, Anya stood by the window, watching Dmitry tinker with his car in the yard. "Aren't you going to Victor's today?" she asked, crossing her arms. Dmitry put down his tool and wiped his hands with a rag. "No. I don't think I owe them anything anymore." Anya nodded slowly, feeling no relief. "Glad to hear you finally realized that." But deep down, she knew that this realization had come too late, when nothing could be undone. Later that night, Anya heard the sound of a message again. This time, her hand reached for the phone almost automatically. The message was from Anton. "Are you okay? I saw Dmitry today, he looked strange. If you want to talk, I'm always here." Anya looked at the screen for a long time, considering her answer. Unlike Dmitry, Anton was the one who at least tried to stop what was happening. But could one action outweigh everything else? She typed a short reply, "Thanks, Anton. I'm okay," and sent it, feeling that with each letter, she was losing something important inside herself. The next day, Dmitry suggested a walk to the lake. "We haven't been there in a long time, maybe some fresh air would do us both good?" Anya agreed, though she didn't believe a walk could resolve their problems. As they walked along the path by the shore, Dmitry suddenly stopped. "I want you to know, I'm truly sorry," he said, looking her directly in the eyes. Anya stopped, not looking away. "Sorry that it happened, or sorry that I didn't break under the burden?" she asked defiantly. Dmitry looked away, unable to meet her gaze. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from it," he mumbled. His words stung her, but not in the way he expected. "I didn't need your protection. You just needed to say no, it was within your power, but you didn't even try," she said bitterly. She turned and walked on, leaving Dmitry standing alone on the path. Later, she received another message from Anton, "You deserve more." She didn't reply. Several more days passed, but something began to change within Anya. One evening, when Dmitry tried to hug her in the kitchen, she gently pulled away. "Dmitry, I think we need some time apart," she said quietly but firmly. He froze, as if disbelieving his ears. "What? Why are you saying that?" he asked, bewildered. "Because I lost trust in you and in myself for letting this happen," Anya replied, holding his gaze. Dmitry was silent for a long time, considering her words, then nodded. "If you think it's for the best, I won't stop you," he said sadly. When he left, Anya felt, for the first time in a long time, that she could breathe freely again. She went to the window and looked out at the night sky, dotted with stars. The phone on the table lit up, signaling a new message, but this time she didn't rush to it. She received no messages that night, and in that silence, the long-awaited tranquility finally settled. This instructive story serves as a stark reminder that silence can sometimes inflict deeper wounds than the most cutting words. Inaction, like corrosive acid, is capable of destroying even the strongest bonds, seemingly immune to any trials. Anya found herself at the epicenter of events where trust and respect should have been her reliable armor, but instead, she was left alone with a difficult choice, to yield to the pressure or to stand firm and defend her principles. Relationships, like an intricate dance, are built on mutual support and understanding. When one partner, like an ostrich, buries their head in the sand in moments requiring courage and decisiveness, cracks inevitably appear in the foundation of the relationship, like harbingers of an approaching storm. This story also clearly demonstrates that true strength is not always found in open confrontation and fierce arguments. Genuine strength manifests in the ability to walk away when love ceases to be a safe haven and transforms into a dangerous place, full of hidden pitfalls. If you ever find yourself in a situation where someone is unceremoniously testing the limits of your tolerance, remember, your worth, like a diamond, is not measured by how much pain and humiliation you are willing to endure. True love, like a lighthouse in the night, is always based on mutual respect, sincerity, and the ability to say a firm no, even if it goes against the expectations of others and established stereotypes.